Welcome back to Conversations with
Chris
and Crystal. And today we are talking about, what are we talking about?
well,
doing a play.
yes, and we had promised an update of how your play went.
Right.
So let's do that part first, and then we'll share with everybody how to do this.
How we got there.
Yeah.
How we got there. So we start at the end, like some movies do. We start at the end. It went spectacularly well. I knew it would. Holy Spirit told me he'd take it, he'd take care of it. And
He did.
he did. He absolutely did. Yeah. In spite of my best efforts to screw it up, he did it all completely right. And we had sellout. We had 6 performances, and the last 3 were all sold out. And we had a marvelous reception for it. Everybody was very happy with it. They're still talking about it now. I'm hearing from people. And yeah, and I think it went very, very well. And Chris helped a lot, came and was my assistant, and also took over for actors who couldn't make it on certain dates and times to rehearse. And so she took their place, and she was also in the publicity photos because nobody was there for the publicity photos. So there she was. And not like we've never done that one before. But we wanted to talk about, especially within a church, how to do a play and how to set that up yourself. Now, I majored in theater. We did plays together, and that's how we met each other. We were in a play together. And so we decided to talk about how to do a play at church. And I got there about 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, to the church, and they were very excited to hear that I had this background, and they asked me to direct their Christmas production, and there
Any
were
future productions.
and any future productions. Okay, so it was something. This church has been around for 10 years. They have never done a Christmas production. They wanted to do it desperately, and so it was new for me. I've done this for 25, 30 years, and it was new for me to come into this situation. I actually had to call my little brother, who is a pastor, and ask him, is this what faith is built on? Throw everything to the wind and hope for the best? And he said, no, not exactly. And eventually our pastor would also reiterate that, no, Crystal, that's not how it works. You actually do use your skills and your abilities and your background, your experience, and you do what you are really good at. And so that's what we did. And then I always tell people, learn the lines, learn the blocking, which is where people move on the stage, learn the blocking, and then forget everything and let the Holy Spirit just take it. And that's why it was so important for me to not just hire actors to do the play, but to have, born again, spirit-filled, spirit-led Christian people doing the play, because it is a reflection of God in us, and we allow the Holy Spirit to flow through us and to speak to others and to change their lives forever. And that was the whole mission.
And there was a lady who was healed from what?
Yes. Yeah, there was, I don't know if it was someone was healed during the show. We did have people who came back to Christ, people who gave their lives to Christ. And it did what it was supposed to do, and that was why we were there. That's the whole purpose. But I got kind of a kick out of the new experiences that I had with this one compared to what I've done in the past. Yeah, by big time. But we wanted to go through the steps of choosing. We want to let you know, we're going to give you a list of this too as well. You would have different positions, different departments, hopefully. If you have a very small, yes, and help. And if you have a very small church, you are it. And these are the things that you will cover. We will have a director, an assistant director, lighting, sound, props person, set decorator, costumes, set construction, actors, and the strike committee, somebody to tear it down at the end of the show. And so in that process, hopefully you have, how many is it? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. Well, actually the actors are more. There are however many actors.
So is the strike
in this
committee.
one, yeah, and so is the strike committee. There are actually 4 people in this play. So what did I have? 10
categories.
Departments, yes, 10 categories that need to be covered in any play, and some people have to double up depending on how many people you have. You know that you've heard that old saying that 10% of the church actually does everything for the church. There's 10% of the people will volunteer to help with women's ministry, to help with Bible studies, to help with. Is that just crazy?
Well,
That's a whole nother.
Yeah, there's some people who just want to come and sit and rip out the door as soon as it's over. You know?
Yeah, just go. Yeah. So there are some of us who are just so moved and called, I guess, to do these things, and this is where we're at. So choosing a script and getting permission. There are different publishing companies. When you find a script, some of them will just say it's for a church, go ahead and use it, and others will ask for a small fee on that too for the rights. Yeah.
And if you have somebody write your own script,
Yeah, you can do that too. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And there's a lot of things on YouTube. There's a lot of things online that people are putting the whole script out there, and you can get those, read those, see if that would work for what you're looking to do. And then be sure that when you're choosing your script, that you're looking for, what your set construction is going to be, what stage space you have, what lighting you have available to you, and that the play will work with that. A lot of plays the lighting is something that's integral part of the production, and others are not. So you can take a look at something like that. So you want to get your set construction person involved, your lighting people, your sound people, how many bodies you think are going to be available to work on a play. So you can decide, right now I have an Easter play. It has all 12 disciples. Not happening.
Yeah. The size of the stage is important. Yeah.
Yes, and the size of the stage is very important.
Will everyone fit? Will they not?
Yep, that's it. Exactly. That's exactly it. So then you set up your rehearsal schedule, and based on what I experienced with this one, I would have to say that you need to do the blocking on stage. People need to memorize based on what they're doing on the stage. You can maybe start out in another room and kind of block out a space and say this is the size of the stage with tape, and have the actors move through that for a while. But for the most part, to memorize the lines, they have to know, I move this direction when I say this line, and I move this direction when I say this line, and that's how they remember them. So it's hard to put them in a spot that's anything but the stage or something like the stage, and space where they can actually communicate. And I do think that if you're working with people who have never been on stage before, newbies, people who have never been on stage before, about 12 weeks of rehearsal, and seasoned actors, maybe 6 weeks of rehearsal.
After
you get your rehearsal schedule, that was it right there.
Well, no, that would be before rehearsals, wouldn't it?
No, I wanted to get the rehearsal schedules.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, because you have to get
and the blocking and the stage. How much can we be on the stage?
Because then when you do your auditions, you want them to see, okay, this is the schedule. If you can't make it, you need to say something now.
That's it, exactly. So you have to get that schedule. And then we do auditions. And in our case, we did advertise for actors. We didn't get anybody. People obviously are looking for some money. But again, I feel really strongly that when you are working in a church, it is the born again, spirit-filled, spirit-led people that do so much more effectively on stage. Because like I said, when you memorize, you block, and then you're done. You just let Holy Spirit take it. And, sometimes you can't even account for what people actually hear because Holy Spirit will be speaking to them. And, and it is interesting when they come up to you and, but I heard this. And it was like,
they didn't say that.
Okay, that's very good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, I got it. And so for the auditions, you can have them read what they call sides, which is from the script, which is actually my personal favorite.
Yeah.
But there are people who can't always right away just read from a script, just cold. And this one was no longer published, so you couldn't even get a copy of it. You might have found one at the library, maybe.
Well, and another thing about it is I worked with a guy once who, at a dinner theater, he was dyslexic, so he didn't do well on the cold reads. Mm-hmm. So he had a monologue that he had memorized,
right?
You know,
and so that, and you could also make that part of it too, that they can come in and do a monologue that they have pre-worked on, you know, got that memorized, or you can have them do improv and give a scenario and a subject and let them just go at it. But again, you're working with people who've never been on stage before.
Well, maybe. I mean,
more than likely in a church situation. So, that
it depends on your crowd.
Yeah, it depends on your crowd. Yes, it does. I would say that they meet every day, Monday through Friday, and hopefully they have access to that stage that they need, and that they're able to work through that every week for 6 or 12 weeks. So it's just something to consider when you're considering the play. These are questions to ask the committees that want to do this production. Okay, we can do this production, but let's take a look at these things. Yeah. Let's see. So again, they need to be consecutive days. We actually worked with days in between that we couldn't use. So we had 3 days a week. And I think that was very challenging, especially for memorization. It was very challenging for people. Again, people who had never done this before, never been on stage before, and never memorized this many lines. So you need more time, and they have to be consecutive. Mm-hmm. Let's see, I think I already hit that one. We also have many ideas for memorizing, to help actors to memorize, but we're not going to go into that. But that is an issue for a lot of people. I wasn't expecting that. I was so used to, I don't know what it is. I think I memorized so much of the Bible when I was young. It's been nothing to me to memorize. Just to memorize lines. I don't know. It's kind of weird. What about you?
Well, for me, it was always the repetition as you go through the thing, and I would have everybody's lines memorized because just hearing it over and over and over and over and over. Yeah.
And that's the reason for the consecutive.
Yeah,
it's like we talk about the kids in school nowadays. Remember when we used to have 3 months off in the summer? Now they only have 2, maybe 2.
It depends on the school district.
Yeah, but essentially, 1.5 to 2, because oh my goodness, that they will forget what they learned. So when they graduate from high school, will they forget everything?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just sort of curious. But anyway, that's fine. That's my opinion. I'm stuck with it. Okay.
Well, and for that matter, the kids that I work with anyway, they can't remember from one week to the next. So what difference does it make how long a summer they have?
So, and then meet the cast. So reading through the script and finding out what your props are. The one thing to develop a character out of a play just right quick would be, as you're reading through the script, you find out what you say about yourself, what other actors say about you, yes. What the description is from the writer of the script, what they say about you, and that gives you an idea of your character, and that's a whole nother.
Well, in the case of a church play, if it's like directly from the Bible.
Yeah,
you're pretty much going to know what's been said about that. Like if it's Paul, kind of know what people said about Paul in the Bible.
That's exactly it. Right. And then we have props and costumes. The props are always listed in the production, or you find as people work with that. Now, the church aspect for me in the past is I always got all my own costumes. Because it's a church. I mean, now we were just fortunate enough for this play to come in contact with a church in California that was getting rid of some of their costumes, and they sent us the ones for Mary and Joseph. And so then, like I said, the props and the costumes, I always brought my own.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, and it's just like her. I called her, and she came and made a bunch of them. Right up front, it's like, okay, we need one of those. Sure, we'll make one of those. Yeah, we'll make one of those. I mean, we're used to doing this stuff, and maybe that was it. Nobody had ever done it before, so they didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, maybe, but still, I mean, you think I don't know.
No,
maybe I've just been in it too long, but
yeah.
I just feel like it's common sense.
Been in it. Yeah, I know.
to think if you're in a church, they don't have a massive budget.
Yeah,
to go out and buy all these clothes.
In fact, we had no budget, so there we have it. And it happens. It happens a lot, actually. In fact, I'm trying to think. I think that even the big churches that I've been at doing productions didn't have budgets for it. People actually donated their time, their money, their talent to getting it together, and that was a big thing.
Yeah, and in this case, most of the set came from Crystal's house.
It did. I'm sorry, that's leaving now. You'll have to hang that somewhere else. We did a lot of that. And then the costumes, again, like I said, we were very fortunate. Bless them for, sending us those costumes. They were absolutely stunningly beautiful, and we're very grateful for them. And the set decor, same thing. The props, the set decor, what have you got around home that you can bring to be in the play after you read through the script? This was the one thing that was really interesting for me, that this was the first time that this church had ever even thought of doing a play. Well, actually, okay, that's wrong. No. The pastor thought about doing plays for the last 10 years. And what was really interesting for me is that it was really difficult that nobody believed
that it was going to
happen. How do you do that? How are you in a faith-based church that, where, faith is the evidence of things not seen, but you believe it anyway, and yet nobody believed it would happen. And people would look at me like I had 3 heads when I talked about it. It was so interesting. It was such an interesting concept. I would love to hear people's ideas about that. But it was, so if you have no faith and you don't believe, or you believe that you can't, you're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I never for once believed that I couldn't.
Yeah.
But there was a lot coming against me.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, wow, are you kidding me? No help, yeah. No nothing. Well, that wasn't going to happen. In their minds, it wasn't going to happen. And people that believed in me kept saying, well, Crystal, nobody's ever seen it before. What do you mean nobody's ever seen it before? What haven't we seen that we believe in, that we have faith for?
Faith is the evidence of things not seen.
Yes. And maybe they just hoped a lot that it would work, and without them. Without their help. I don't know. And maybe that's that 10% that does everything. I mean, it's such a small church. I thought, how can you have 10% only doing everything? Is that biblical? Is that a thing? Maybe that's a thing.
Tithing was 10% of your income.
I tell ya. I know. It's just crazy. Oh, well, that's a good point. That's a good point. Maybe, there's something that just kind of is spoken over the people, that only 10% of you are ever going to do anything. Hello? I don't know. I'm confused. I'm confused by it. But that is something pastors will tell you, about 10% of the church does everything.
Well, and then it depending on the church, because a church that I went to, I was gung-ho to help out with the drama stuff. We're going to talk about this in another episode.
Yes, we will.
They beat it out of me. So that happens too in some churches. Yeah,
yes. I've actually spent the last, 20 years now looking for a church that would allow me to at least help. And, I was at one for 4 years, and every year when they did the Christmas program, they would come and, oh, I forgot to call you. And it was like, thanks. Okay, thanks. And I don't know, you wonder if it's God, that keeps you from, tries to get you to the right place and the right time and the right situation. I don't know. That's a whole other story.
Sure, he may have been protecting you, because if you had worked with that person.
Yeah, maybe. That's true.
That's true.
So then you have lights and sound. We got some lapel mics. They were not really the greatest, but it's a lesson learned. And so next year, I think we probably need to budget for some new lapel microphones, and they also came with the headset, and so we were working with that. And
to me, in such a small church, I was telling Crystal that I think they should have learned how to project.
Yeah,
because it was such a small church. You don't need microphones. Microphones can be a pain, because what if the actor had to go to the bathroom and they forgot to turn it off?
Yeah, that's always
nobody wants to hear all that.
That's always the thing. No, it's even if you do have microphones, you need to project, you need to enunciate, you need to get the sound out of your mouth. And I mean, I remember, this is in a church, having a sound guy yell at us saying you need to scream at each other on stage. I know it's going to sound funny there, but it'll sound better out here, and then I can control what's coming out onto the microphone. But I think he was really having trouble with people who mumbled, people who talked too fast. You need to project, and that is a big deal. And then, of course, the day before opening night, you have dress rehearsal, or maybe even 2 times before opening night, to make sure the costumes all work, to make there's continuity. When people are bringing their own costumes, they're bringing their own props, you want to check in with the director to make sure that those things are within their vision of what they want the play to be. It's just like a director on a movie set. They have this vision, and everybody's working to get to that vision. And so just kind of think of it that same way. And then you have opening night, and amazing things happen. I mean, it's amazing how things work out, and it all comes together, and you're sitting there going, wow, who did that? It wasn't me.
Well, and also, I always thought when I was young, opening night is like the most exciting night and everything. But there's still going to be, in a lot of cases, problems on opening night, It's not completely worked through yet, and everybody's not quite there yet. So to me, the whole big to-do about opening night is kind of like, come on the second or third night.
Right. Well, it's always, we appreciate those who do come on opening night, take that chance.
Yes.
So that was just some real quick tips on having a play at your church, whether it's Easter or Christmas or sketches that you do at church. The other way to bring in the talent that you need is to have acting classes at the church. And that way you're training these people to do acting, and then
projecting.
And projecting, and exercises to get them over themselves and start looking into becoming a character. And so we can break this all down and probably have 10 categories. We can probably do 10 more films on all of the categories and what we think of each of them and what they really should be doing. We'll extend that another time, but thank you so much for listening, and hopefully we've answered some of your questions. We do, below we will have a list of these categories, these different areas, and like I said, if you need any information on publishing companies or anything like that, please feel free to utilize our email address below, and we will get back to you with any information that we have. And we want to be supportive. I reached out to all of the people I've worked with through the years, and they were all extremely supportive, and got back to me, from Homeward Bound Theater Company and Bloomington Assembly of God, now Cedar Valley Church. They were very quick to be supportive and send me all the information that they had and all of the scripts and things that they might be able to share.
That was nice.
That was very nice. Very helpful. Thank you very much.
All right.
Well, remember,
take
care of yourself, because nobody else will.
See you next time.
Okay. Bye for now.